What if 2 weeks was all it took to fall completely in love with Europe? Picture yourself standing on London Bridge as the city wakes up around you, then sipping a coffee in Paris, with the Eiffel Tower reflected in your cup. Breathing in the cool mountain air of Lucerne, where the Alps feel close enough to touch. Drifting through the canals of Venice as golden light dances on the water. Walking the very streets that inspired Michelangelo in Florence. And finally arriving in Rome, the eternal city, where every cobblestone tells a story that is 2,000 years in the making. This is not just a route, this is a journey through the soul of Europe, designed for travelers who want to experience more, stress less, and come home with memories that last a lifetime. In this video, I will take you through each destination, one by one, sharing the highlights, the hidden gems, and the insider tips you need to know. And between every city, I will show you exactly how to get from one place to the next, saving you time, money, and more than a few headaches. So grab your passport. Our adventure begins in London. Day 1. Historic London and the Thames. London doesn't reveal its soul all at once. You discover it step by step, along the river that built an empire. Today we follow the Thames through nearly 2,000 years of history, from the grand dome of St. Paul's Cathedral to the medieval walls of the Tower of London. Along the way, we'll cross a glass walkway high above the river, step inside Shakespeare's theater, taste some of the best street food in the city, and end the night in one of London's most electric neighborhoods. Put on comfortable shoes. Today is a day of stories. Morning. St. Paul's Cathedral. Start your first morning at one of the most iconic landmarks in Britain, St. Paul's Cathedral. For more than 3 centuries, this magnificent dome has defined the London skyline. Designed by Sir Christopher Wren and completed in the early 1700s, the cathedral has witnessed the city's most defining moments. Royal weddings, state funerals, victory celebrations after the end of wars. Step inside and the scale immediately hits you. Marble floors stretch beneath enormous arches, golden mosaics shimmer in the apse, and high above, the famous dome rises like a second sky. If you're up for a climb, head up to the Whispering Gallery. The acoustics here are extraordinary. A whisper pressed against the wall can travel nearly 100 feet across the dome to the other side. Keep climbing and you'll reach the Golden Gallery, an outdoor platform with one of the most breathtaking panoramic views in London. Insider tip. Arrive right when the cathedral opens. The early morning light filtering through the windows makes the interior feel almost otherworldly. And you'll beat most of the tour groups. Just outside, tucked inside a historic church, you'll find Host Cafe, a quiet, atmospheric spot to grab a coffee before continuing your walk. Late morning, Millennium Bridge. From the cathedral, walk down to the river and step onto Millennium Bridge. This sleek steel pedestrian bridge connects the historic city of London with the lively South Bank. When it opened in the year 2000, it wobbled so dramatically that engineers had to shut it down almost immediately. Locals still call it the Wobbly Bridge. Today, it's perfectly stable and perfectly placed. Halfway across, turn around. The dome of St. Paul's lines up perfectly with the walkway behind you, one of the most photographed views in the entire city. Harry Potter fans will also recognize it from the opening scenes of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Midday, Shakespeare's Globe. Just steps from the bridge stands one of London's most fascinating cultural landmarks, Shakespeare's Globe. This is a faithful reconstruction of the original Elizabethan theater, where William Shakespeare's plays were first performed more than 400 years ago. The circular wooden structure looks almost identical to how it appeared in the 1600s. Open-air seating surrounds the stage. And the standing yard in front is where ordinary Londoners once crowded together, shoulder to shoulder, to watch history being made. Join a guided tour to understand how these productions actually worked, from elaborate handmade costumes to sound effects created entirely without technology. If you're visiting during theater season, come back in the evening for a live performance. Watching Shakespeare under the open sky is something you won't forget. Lunch at Borough Market. By now, you've earned lunch, and there's no better place than Borough Market. Tucked beneath old railway arches, this is one of the oldest and most beloved food markets in London. The atmosphere is lively, the smells are irresistible, and every corner offers something tempting. Gourmet grilled cheese, handmade pasta, Indian street food, fresh pastries, and artisan chocolate. One stop you shouldn't miss: Bread Ahead Bakery, famous for its legendary filled donuts. Grab something delicious, find a spot by the river, and eat like a Londoner. Afternoon. Tower Bridge. Continue east along the river and eventually it appears, Tower Bridge. With its stone towers and signature blue walkways, it looks like something out of a fairy tale. Built in the late 19th century, the bridge uses a massive hydraulic lifting mechanism that still operates today, allowing large ships to pass beneath it. Most visitors simply cross at street level, but the real experience is above. The Tower Bridge exhibition takes you up into the towers, where glass floor panels let you look straight down at the traffic passing beneath your feet. It's thrilling, and just a little terrifying. Insider tip: check the official Tower Bridge website before your visit. They publish the exact schedule for when the bridge lifts for passing ships. Watching it rise is surprisingly dramatic. Late afternoon, Tower of London. Right beside the bridge stands one of the most legendary sights in Britain, the Tower of London. Originally built in the year 1066 by William the Conqueror, this ancient fortress has served many roles throughout the centuries. Royal palace, prison, treasury, and yes, at one point, even a zoo. Today it's best known as the home of the crown jewels, an extraordinary collection of royal crowns, scepters, and ceremonial treasures still used in British coronations to this day. But the real stories of the tower go much deeper. Kings were imprisoned here, rivals were executed within these walls, and according to legend, the ghosts of former prisoners still wander the ancient stone corridors. Insider tip: when you arrive, join one of the famous Beefeater tours. These guards combine genuine historical knowledge with dark humor and extraordinary storytelling. It's one of the best free experiences in London. Evening, Brick Lane, and dinner at 𝐲𝐸𝐝. After a full day of history, end your evening somewhere completely different. Brick Lane. This vibrant neighborhood in East London is famous for its street art, vintage shops, and one of the best South Asian food scenes in the city. Murals cover entire buildings, music spills from open doorways, and the scent of spices drifts through the streets. Your dinner destination is 𝐲𝐸𝐝. Inspired by the old cafes of Bombay, 𝐲𝐸𝐝 serves rich, deeply comforting dishes packed with flavor. Order the famous black dal, slow-cooked for 24 hours, or the chicken ruby curry with warm naan bread. The lines can be long, but once you taste the food, you'll understand exactly why. As you walk back through the city tonight, let it sink in. In just one day, you've moved through nearly 1,000 years of London's story. From medieval fortresses to Elizabethan theaters, from royal treasures to buzzing street markets, from the city's grandest monuments to its most electric neighborhoods. And tomorrow, the journey continues. Here's the thing about London. The Tower of London gets packed. St. Paul's Cathedral draws enormous crowds. The most popular tours and skip-the-line experiences? Fully booked days in advance. And nothing kills the magic of a perfectly planned itinerary faster than standing in line for 2 hours, or worse, finding out it's sold out when you arrive. If you want to follow this 3-day itinerary the way it's meant to be experienced, you need to book ahead. Not maybe. Not if you feel like it. You need to. On screen, you'll see 2 QR codes for the most reliable platforms we trust: Get Your Guide and Viator. Scan one. Book your tickets now. Skip the line options where available. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one often comes down to what you planned before you even left home. We've also added direct booking links in the description below, with skip-the-line access where it matters most. Don't leave this to chance. London rewards those who come prepared. Day 2. Royal London and iconic landmarks. If yesterday was about discovering London's history along the Thames, today is about the London you've seen on postcards your entire life. Royal palaces, ancient abbeys, the most famous clock tower on Earth. This is the London of kings, queens, and centuries of ceremony, a day filled with the landmarks that define the city itself. Morning, Buckingham Palace. Start your morning at the heart of the British monarchy, Buckingham Palace. This grand palace has been the official residence of the British monarch since the 1800s and remains one of the few royal palaces in the world still fully functioning today. Standing in front of those famous gates, you're looking at a place where history has unfolded time and again. Royal weddings, jubilees, national celebrations that brought the entire country together. During the summer months, parts of the palace open to visitors. You can explore the spectacular staterooms filled with priceless art, glittering chandeliers, and centuries of royal treasures. Just across from the palace stands the Victoria Memorial, a towering white marble monument dedicated to one of Britain's most influential rulers. But the real spectacle happens right here in the courtyard. Changing of the Guard. One of London's most beloved traditions is the changing of the guard ceremony. Dressed in bright red uniforms and the iconic tall bearskin hats, the King's Guard performs a carefully choreographed handover while a military band plays in the background. The marching procession usually begins around 10 a.m. and 45 minutes, leading up to the formal ceremony at the palace gates. It's a tradition that dates back centuries, and one of the most recognizable royal ceremonies in the world. Insider tip: arrive at least 30 minutes early if you want a good viewing spot. For a slightly quieter view, position yourself along the mall, where the guards march toward the palace before the ceremony begins. Late morning, Westminster Abbey. From the palace, take a short walk to one of the most historically significant buildings in the entire United Kingdom, Westminster Abbey. This magnificent Gothic church has been the stage for nearly every major royal ceremony for more than 1,000 years. In the year 1066, William the Conqueror was crowned here, the first of more than 40 British monarchs to receive the crown inside these walls. Step inside, and you'll find a place that feels less like a church and more like a living museum of British history. Kings and queens are buried here. Scientists, poets, and politicians have monuments here. Even Charles Darwin and Isaac Newton rest beneath the stone floors. One of the most fascinating sections is Poets' Corner, where legendary writers, including William Shakespeare, are honored with memorials. Insider tip: use the included audio guide. It transforms the Abbey from a beautiful building into an unforgettable story. Afternoon, Big Ben. Just steps from the Abbey stands the most famous clock tower on the planet, Big Ben. Technically, Big Ben is the name of the giant bell inside the tower. The structure itself is officially called Elizabeth Tower, renamed in honor of Queen Elizabeth II. The tower rises beside the Palace of Westminster, the historic seat of the British Parliament, where the House of Commons and House of Lords meet to this day. The sound of Big Ben's bells has echoed across London for more than 150 years, one of the most recognizable sounds in the world. Since the year 2023, visitors can even climb the tower on a guided tour, taking you up 334 narrow steps to the belfry. But even from the ground, this is one of the most iconic views in London. Westminster Bridge. Right beside Big Ben, you'll find Westminster Bridge, one of the most celebrated crossings of the Thames. From here you get one of the finest views of the London skyline, the Parliament buildings stretching along the river, while the London Eye rises on the opposite bank. Take a moment here. This is the kind of view that reminds you exactly why London has captivated travelers for centuries. Lunch at Regency Cafe. After a morning packed with royal history, it's time for a proper British lunch at Regency Cafe. Opened in the year 1946, this traditional cafe looks almost exactly as it did decades ago. Black and white tiled walls, a simple counter service menu, and a no-nonsense charm that feels entirely London. It's famous for its full English breakfast, plates piled high with eggs, bacon, sausage, baked beans, and toast. The food is hearty, the service is quick, and the atmosphere is as authentic as it gets. Insider tip. The cafe gets busy around lunch. If there's a line outside, don't worry, it moves fast. Late afternoon, Trafalgar Square. After lunch, continue north toward Trafalgar Square, one of the city's most recognizable gathering places. At the center rises Nelson's Column, honoring Admiral Horatio Nelson, who led Britain to victory at the Battle of Trafalgar in the year 1805. 4 massive bronze lion statues guard the base of the monument, making it one of the most photographed spots in London. But the real treasure here sits at the northern edge of the square. The National Gallery. The magnificent National Gallery houses one of the world's greatest collections of European art. And entry is completely free. Inside you'll find masterpieces by Vincent van Gogh, Leonardo da Vinci, and Claude Monet. You could spend hours exploring its galleries, but even a short visit offers an incredible glimpse into centuries of artistic brilliance. Evening, Covent Garden. As evening approaches, make your way to Covent Garden, one of the liveliest neighborhoods in the city. Once a fruit and vegetable market, Covent Garden has transformed into a vibrant area filled with boutique shops, atmospheric cafes, and street performers. Musicians perform beneath the historic market hall, magicians draw crowds in the square, and the surrounding streets glow warmly as restaurants begin to fill. It's the perfect place to slow down and let the city wash over you. Night, London Eye. To finish the day, walk across the river for one final experience, a ride on the London Eye. This giant observation wheel rises 443 feet above the Thames, slowly rotating as glass capsules lift you high above the city. At night, the view becomes something truly special. Big Ben glows beside Parliament, the river reflects the city lights, and the skyline stretches out in every direction. The perfect ending to a day filled with London's most iconic sights. Today you walk through the London of postcards and history books, royal palaces, ancient abbeys, and the skyline that defines the city. But tomorrow, the journey takes a different turn. Into royal parks, hidden corners, and one unforgettable magical experience. Day 3. Royal Parks and the Wizarding World. London is a city of kings and queens. But today, we're starting somewhere far more magical. Because just outside the city lies the place where one of the most beloved film series in history came to life. Real sets, real costumes, real movie magic. After that, we return to London for a slower afternoon among royal palaces and peaceful parks. The perfect way to end 3 unforgettable days in this incredible city. Morning, Warner Bros. Studio Tour. Start your morning with one of the most immersive film experiences in the world. Warner Bros. Studio Tour London, the making of Harry Potter. This isn't a theme park. It's the real studio, where the Harry Potter film series was brought to life over more than a decade. Inside, you'll walk through the Great Hall, step onto Diagon Alley, explore the Gryffindor Common Room, and see the actual costumes worn by Harry, Hermione, and Ron. You'll discover how the films created their magical effects, from flying broomsticks to enormous creatures, and the breathtaking scale model of Hogwarts Castle used throughout the movies. Most visits take around 3 to 4 hours, so plan roughly half a day, including travel. And before you leave, try the famous butterbeer, a sweet, frothy drink that fans consider an essential part of the experience. Insider tip. Book your tickets well in advance. This is one of the most popular attractions near London and regularly sells out days ahead. Afternoon, brunch, at the Ivy Kensington Brasserie. After returning to central London, reward yourself with a relaxed brunch at the Ivy Kensington Brasserie. This stylish restaurant is known for its polished service and elegant atmosphere, a popular spot for both locals and visitors who want to slow down without sacrificing quality. The menu blends British classics with European favorites. Think Eggs Benedict, fluffy pancakes, and perfectly brewed coffee, alongside heartier dishes like shepherd's pie and grilled meats. It's the perfect place to decompress after a busy morning. Reservations are highly recommended. This place fills up quickly. Late afternoon, Kensington Palace. Just a short walk away stands Kensington Palace, a royal residence whose history stretches back more than 300 years. The palace has been home to several members of the royal family, including Queen Victoria, who spent her entire childhood here. Today it remains an official royal residence, and visitors can explore beautifully restored state apartments filled with historic portraits, royal furniture, and exhibitions about life behind palace walls. Outside, you'll find one of the most peaceful corners in London, the Sunken Garden, where a statue honors Princess Diana. It's a quiet, reflective place, and one that many visitors find deeply moving. Walk, Kensington Gardens. Behind the palace stretch the beautiful Kensington Gardens. Once the private grounds of the royal palace, these expansive gardens are now one of London's most elegant green spaces. Wide tree-lined paths wind past manicured lawns, historic statues, and the tranquil round pond, where sailboats glide across the water on calm days. After several busy days of sightseeing, this is exactly the kind of place you need. Evening, Hyde Park. As the afternoon fades into evening, continue your walk into neighboring Hyde Park, one of the largest and most famous parks in the city. At its heart lies the Serpentine, a long, elegant lake where locals stroll along the water or rent small boats during warmer months. You'll also find the Diana Memorial Fountain, designed as a tribute to Princess Diana and shaped to reflect the flowing nature of her life. Hyde Park has been a gathering place for Londoners for centuries, from royal celebrations to public speeches to quiet afternoon walks. After the pace of the past 2 days, this calm green space offers exactly what you need: a moment to breathe and to enjoy the city at a slower rhythm. Dinner, classic fish and chips. To finish your final evening in London, there's only one proper choice: traditional British fish and chips. This iconic dish has been a staple of British cuisine since the 19th century. Crispy battered fish, served with thick-cut fries, and classic sides like mushy peas or tartar sauce. A popular place to try it is Bailey's Fish and Chips, known for its generous portions and perfectly crisp batter. If you're staying closer to central London, the Mayfair Chippy is another excellent option, famous for its refined take on the classic dish. Either way, it's the perfect final meal after 3 incredible days in this city. 3 days ago, you arrived in London. Since then, you've walked through royal palaces, crossed the River Thames, explored medieval fortresses, discovered hidden markets, and stepped onto the film sets of one of the world's most magical stories. And the truth is, London is the kind of city that always leaves you wanting just one more day. And remember, London's top attractions sell out fast. The Tower of London, Westminster Abbey, the Warner Bros. Studio Tour, they all book up days in advance. If you want to follow this itinerary without stress, book your tickets now. Scan the QR codes on screen for Get Your Guide or Viator, skip the line, and spend your time exploring, not waiting. Don't leave this to chance. London rewards those who come prepared. The best way to travel from London to Paris. After 3 unforgettable days in London, it is time to make your way to Paris. And the good news? This is one of the most enjoyable travel connections in all of Europe. Your best option, without a doubt, is the Eurostar train. In just 2 hours and 20 minutes, you go from the heart of London to the heart of Paris. You depart from St. Pancras International, and you arrive right in the center of the French capital. No airports, no long security lines, no wasted time. Just a smooth, comfortable ride under the English Channel, with a coffee in hand and Paris waiting on the other side. Honestly, the journey itself is part of the experience. Flying is possible, but when you factor in airport transfers, early check-in, and security, it almost always takes longer than the train, and it is far more stressful. One insider tip: book your Eurostar tickets as early as possible. Prices rise quickly, especially during peak travel season. Lock in your seats early, and you will save both money and peace of mind. So, unless you find an extraordinary flight deal, the train is the clear winner here. Next stop, Paris. Day 1. Paris icons and grand boulevards. There's no better way to begin your first day in Paris than at one of the most famous museums on Earth, the Louvre. This enormous palace-turned-museum holds some of the world's most celebrated masterpieces: the Mona Lisa, Venus de Milo, Liberty, Leading the People. But the experience actually begins before you even step inside. Rising from the courtyard is the Louvre's striking glass pyramid, designed by architect 𝐲𝐻𝐿, a modern structure that contrasts beautifully with the historic palace surrounding it. Entrance to the Louvre is about $24, and it's highly recommended to buy your ticket online in advance to avoid the notoriously long lines. Because the Louvre is the largest art museum in the world, navigating it can feel overwhelming. One of the best ways to experience it is by joining a guided tour, which usually includes skip-the-line access and a knowledgeable guide who takes you directly to the museum's most important works. Plan to spend at least 2 hours here, though art lovers could easily dedicate an entire morning exploring the galleries. Insider tip: if you love photography, arrive early. The courtyard opens around 7 a.m., well before the museum doors, giving you a rare chance to see the pyramid without the usual crowds. Just remember, the Louvre is closed on Tuesdays. Mid-morning. Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel. Either before entering the Louvre or right after your visit, take a moment to admire the Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel, located just outside the museum. Although it's smaller than the famous Arc de Triomphe further up the 𝐲𝐻𝐸, this elegant monument is just as fascinating. Built in the year 1806 to celebrate Napoleon's military victories, the arch is decorated with intricate reliefs carved into rose-colored marble. At the very top, you'll notice a striking sculpture of peace riding a triumphal chariot, adding an extra touch of grandeur to the monument. Insider tip: morning and late afternoon offer the best lighting for photos, and since visiting the arch is completely free, it's an easy addition to your Louvre stop. After a busy morning of art and history, it's time to recharge. About a 10-minute walk from the Louvre, you'll find Marcel 3, a cozy cafe that's perfect for a relaxed brunch. Their menu focuses on fresh, healthy dishes that are both delicious and satisfying. Expect to spend around $20 to $30 per person. Insider tip: two of the most popular choices here are the avocado toast and the quinoa salad. Try arriving slightly before the lunch rush if you want a quieter table. Afternoon. Jardin du Palais Royal. From Marcel 3, take a pleasant 10-minute walk to the elegant Jardin du Palais Royal. These beautifully maintained gardens sit beside the historic Palais Royal, once a royal residence and now home to several important French government institutions, including the Ministry of Culture. Just outside the palace, you'll find one of Paris's most recognizable modern art installations, the black and white striped columns created by artist Daniel Buren. When they were installed in the 1980s, many Parisians disliked how modern they looked next to the historic palace. Today, however, they've become one of the most photographed spots in the city, so yes, this is definitely a moment to grab your camera. From Palais Royal, continue your walk for another 10 minutes until you reach the magnificent Jardin des Tuileries. These formal gardens were commissioned in the year 1564 by Catherine de' Medici and originally served as a private royal garden used for grand events and lavish banquets. Since the year 1667, however, the gardens have been open to the public and have become one of the most relaxing places to stroll in central Paris. Inside the gardens, you'll also find the Musée de l'Orangerie, famous for displaying Monet's water lilies in specially designed oval rooms. The museum is closed on Tuesdays, but if you happen to visit on the first Sunday of the month, entry is free. Insider tip: late afternoon is the most peaceful time to walk through the gardens. Grab a gelato from a nearby stand, find a chair by one of the fountains, and simply enjoy the atmosphere. Best of all, entry to the gardens is completely free. Late afternoon, Champs-Élysées. At the western edge of the Tuileries Gardens lies Place de la Concorde, where your walk along one of the world's most famous avenues begins, the Champs-Élysées. Stretching roughly 1.2 miles, this legendary boulevard is lined with luxury boutiques, flagship stores, cafes, and theaters. If shopping is your thing, you'll find everything from Tiffany & Co. to Nike along this avenue. But even if you're not planning to buy anything, simply walking here is part of the Paris experience. And if you have a sweet tooth, make a stop at La Durée, famous for its delicate and colorful French macarons. A box usually costs around $20 to $30, and yes, they're absolutely worth trying. After the bustle of the Champs-Élysées, head toward the Seine River, where you'll find one of the most beautiful bridges in Paris, Pont Alexandre III. Decorated with ornate lamps, gilded statues, cherubs, nymphs, and winged horses, this bridge is a masterpiece of Art Nouveau design. Photos don't quite capture how impressive it looks in real life. And from here, you'll also enjoy fantastic views of the Eiffel Tower, making it a perfect place to pause for a moment. Cross over to the left bank and continue toward Rue de l'Université, one of Paris's most charming streets. What makes this street special is the incredible perspective it offers of the Eiffel Tower, framed perfectly between classic Parisian buildings. From the eastern end of the street, you'll get one of the best photo views of the Iron Lady anywhere in the city. Evening, the Eiffel Tower. After roughly a 30-minute walk, you'll arrive at the highlight of the day, the Eiffel Tower. Standing 1,063 feet tall, this iconic structure dominates the Paris skyline and is one of the most recognizable landmarks on Earth. One of the best experiences here is visiting the second-floor observation deck, where you can enjoy panoramic views of the entire city, perhaps with a glass of champagne in hand. To truly end your first day in style, take the elevator all the way to the top and watch the sun slowly set over the rooftops of Paris. Tickets vary depending on how you go up. Elevator to the summit, about $38. Stairs to the second floor plus elevator, around $24. During busy seasons, wait times can be long, so it's best to book your tickets in advance. Insider tip: if you want to learn more about the tower's fascinating history, consider booking a guided tour. It adds a lot of context to the experience. After enjoying the views, finish your first evening in Paris with a memorable dinner near the Eiffel Tower. A fantastic choice is 𝐲𝐸, an elegant seafood restaurant known for its terrace with a direct view of the tower. On warm evenings, dining outside here is truly special. Expect to spend roughly $80 to $100 per person. Another excellent option nearby is Lynette, where you can enjoy classic French dishes in a more relaxed setting. Start with burgundy snails and a glass of wine, then choose from their traditional mains. Dinner here usually costs around $60 to $80 per person, and the closest metro station is Champ de Mars. Insider tip: reservations are strongly recommended for both restaurants if you want the best tables. Here's the thing about Paris. The Louvre gets packed. The Eiffel Tower sells out. Versailles? Fully booked days in advance. And nothing kills the magic of a perfectly planned itinerary faster than standing in line for 2 hours, or worse, finding out it's sold out when you arrive. If you want to follow this 4-day itinerary the way it's meant to be experienced, you need to book ahead. Not maybe. Not if you feel like it. You need to. On screen, you'll see 2 QR codes for the most reliable platforms we trust: Get Your Guide and Viator. Scan one. Book your tickets now. Skip the line options when available. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one often comes down to what you planned before you even left home. We've also added direct booking links in the description below with skip the line access where it matters most. Don't leave this to chance. Paris rewards those who come prepared. Day 2. Views, History, and Hidden Paris. If you want to experience Paris at its most magical, set your alarm early. One of the most unforgettable moments during your 4 days in Paris is watching the sun rise over the Eiffel Tower, and the best place to do it is from the terrace at Trocadero. Located directly across the Seine from the tower, this elevated square offers one of the most iconic views in the entire city. As the first light of the morning slowly illuminates the Eiffel Tower, you'll understand why photographers love this spot. If you arrive early enough, there's a good chance you'll have the terrace almost entirely to yourself, a rare luxury in one of the world's most visited cities. After enjoying the sunrise, take a relaxed walk through the nearby Jardin du Trocadero, where fountains, statues, and tree-lined paths create a peaceful start to the day. Getting here is simple. Take Metro Line 6 or 9 to Trocadero Station, or if you're not feeling the early morning metro, treat yourself to a quick Uber or taxi ride. After sunrise, it's time to cross the river toward the Eiffel Tower. Walk across the Pont d'Iéna, stopping occasionally to take photos. From this bridge, you'll have fantastic angles of the tower rising above the Seine. Once you reach the opposite side, you'll notice a charming Parisian carousel near the tower. It usually opens later in the morning, but even when it's closed, it makes a beautiful foreground for photos with the Eiffel Tower behind it. From here, continue into Champ de Mars, the large park stretching out from the base of the tower. The wide lawns and tree-lined paths create one of the most classic postcard views of Paris. Early in the morning, the park is still relatively quiet, making it the perfect time to enjoy the scenery before the crowds arrive. After such an early start, breakfast will probably be calling your name. Just a short walk away, you'll find 𝐲𝐶𝐝, a popular brunch spot known for its relaxed atmosphere and delicious menu. Here you can fuel up with fluffy pancakes, fresh avocado toast, and a strong cup of coffee to kickstart the rest of your day. Expect to pay roughly $20 to $30 per person for a satisfying brunch. Afternoon, Les Invalides. About 10 minutes on foot from 𝐲𝐶𝐝 stands one of Paris's most impressive historic complexes, Les Invalides. This vast golden-domed landmark houses several museums, a historic church, and perhaps most famously, the tomb of Napoleon Bonaparte. If military history interests you, don't miss the Army Museum, Musée de l'Armée, located inside the complex. It's one of the largest military museums in the world, featuring an extraordinary collection of armor, weapons, uniforms, and artifacts connected to France's long military history. You'll even see objects connected to historical figures such as Francis I, Louis XIV, and Charles de Gaulle. The museum is open daily from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and admission costs around $16. Plan to spend about an hour here to explore the highlights. Just a short walk from Les Invalides, you'll find another cultural gem, the Musée Rodin. Opened in the year 1919, the museum celebrates the work of Auguste Rodin, one of the pioneers of modern sculpture. Inside, you'll encounter some of his most famous masterpieces, including The Thinker, The Kiss, and The Gates of Hell. The museum itself is housed in the elegant Hôtel Biron, an 18th-century mansion surrounded by beautiful gardens. Admission costs around $16, and the museum is open daily from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., except Mondays when it's closed. You'll want to spend about an hour here. If museums aren't really your thing, feel free to choose between Les Invalides or the Rodin Museum instead of doing both. Insider tip: the sculpture garden at Musée Rodin is absolutely beautiful. It's the perfect place for a peaceful walk among Rodin's works. Late afternoon, the Paris Catacombs. Ready for something completely different? Beneath the streets of Paris lies one of the city's most unusual attractions, the Catacombs of Paris. Located in the 14th arrondissement, this underground labyrinth holds the remains of more than 6 million Parisians. To enter the catacombs, you'll descend 131 steps underground before following a tunnel route of about 1 mile through the eerie ossuary passages. The catacombs are open Tuesday through Sunday from 9:45 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., and tickets cost roughly $31, including an audio guide. Because this attraction is very popular, it's best to reserve your ticket online ahead of time. Most visitors spend around 1 hour exploring the underground galleries. The catacombs are about a 40-minute walk from Les Invalides, but the easiest option is to take the metro from Varennes to Denfert-Rochereau, changing trains at Montparnasse-Vaugirard. Insider tip: wear comfortable shoes and bring a light jacket. The temperature underground stays around 57 degrees Fahrenheit all year, much cooler than above ground. Evening, Montparnasse Tower. After emerging back into daylight, take a 20-minute walk to tour Montparnasse. The tower itself isn't exactly known for its beauty. In fact, many Parisians consider it one of the least attractive buildings in the city. But the view from the top completely makes up for it. From the 56th floor observation deck, you'll get an incredible panorama over Paris, including views of the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Notre Dame, and countless Parisian rooftops. Admission costs around $26 at the entrance, or about $22 if you buy your ticket online. The tower is open daily from 9:30 a.m. until 11 p.m. Night. Seine River Cruise. After 2 days exploring Paris on foot, there's one experience you absolutely shouldn't miss: seeing the city from the Seine River. A nighttime river cruise is one of the most magical ways to admire Paris, as the city's monuments glow beautifully after dark. There are many options available online, from simple sightseeing cruises to luxurious dinner experiences. If you want a special evening, consider a Seine dinner cruise. Some options include a 75-minute cruise starting around 6 p.m. or a 2.5-hour dinner cruise starting around 8:30 p.m. These cruises usually offer several menu options, wine pairings, and different seating choices. If you prefer something more affordable, you can book a 1-hour Seine cruise near the Eiffel Tower, often combined with a classic French crepe tasting. These cruises typically cost around $20. During summer, they depart every 30 minutes between 10 a.m. and 11 p.m., while winter departures are every 45 minutes between 10:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. Honestly, a river cruise and a fresh crepe might just be one of the best travel deals in Paris. Insider tip: try to book a weekday evening cruise. It's usually less crowded, and arriving early will help you grab one of the best viewing spots on the boat. Don't forget your camera. Paris at night is unforgettable. Day 3. Art, Montmartre, and Paris after dark. By day 3, you've already covered a lot of ground in Paris, so this is the perfect moment to slow things down a little. Instead of another early sightseeing sprint, start the day with a long, easy brunch at 5 𝐻𝐸. This is the kind of place where you can settle in, breathe for a moment, and enjoy a calmer Parisian morning. Order a plate of eggs and pair it with a refreshing cold brew for a simple but satisfying start to the day. Expect to spend around $20 to $30 per person. Insider tip: try to arrive in the mid-morning window, before the brunch crowd fully rolls in. A seat by the window makes this stop even better. From brunch, it's about a 20-minute walk to one of the most unusual museum buildings in Paris, the Centre Pompidou. Even if you know nothing about modern art, the exterior alone makes this place worth seeing. With its exposed pipes, bold colors, and inside-out design, it feels completely different from the grand classical buildings Paris is known for. Commissioned under French President Georges Pompidou, the museum became a major home for modern and contemporary art. Inside, you'll find works by artists like Henri Matisse, Andy Warhol, and Marcel Duchamp. Admission is around $16, and the museum is open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., except Tuesdays, when it's closed. Insider tip: don't skip the rooftop terrace. The panoramic view over Paris is fantastic, and for many visitors, that view ends up being one of the highlights of the stop. Late morning to afternoon, Montmartre. After Pompidou, shift gears and head toward one of the most atmospheric neighborhoods in Paris, Montmartre. The easiest way to get there is by metro, taking the line from Étienne Marcel to Barbès-Rochechouart. Montmartre isn't just about landmarks, it's about wandering. This is the kind of neighborhood where the real charm appears in the side streets, stairways, tucked-away corners, and little cafes spilling out onto the sidewalk. You'll pass painters setting up their canvases, musicians filling the streets with sound, and corners that somehow still feel like old Paris. Stop for a café au lait at a classic local address like La Maison Rose or Café des Deux Moulins, the cafe made famous by Amélie. A coffee will usually cost around $5. Insider tip: try to see Place du Tertre earlier in the day, when artists are just getting started. It feels more authentic before the square fills up. Afternoon. Sacré-Cœur. Watching over Montmartre from the highest natural point in Paris is the beautiful Sacré-Cœur Basilica. This Roman Catholic church is dedicated to the heart of Jesus, and inside you'll find an impressive mosaic of the risen Christ, one of the largest of its kind in the world. The basilica itself is free to enter, and it's open daily from 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. If you don't mind a bit of climbing, you can also make your way up to the dome. The 300-step ascent rewards you with another spectacular view over the Paris skyline. Even if you don't go all the way up, simply standing on the steps outside Sacré-Cœur and looking out over the city is one of those classic Paris moments. From Sacré-Cœur, it's about a 15-minute walk to one of Paris's most charming small museums, Le Musée de la Vie Romantique. Set inside a lovely house that once belonged to painter Ary Scheffer, this museum feels intimate and quietly elegant. The permanent collection is free and includes works connected to Scheffer and the Romantic period. If you'd like to see a temporary exhibition or enjoy tea on site, expect to spend around $10. The museum is open Tuesday to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and closed on Mondays. Insider tip: one of the best parts of this stop is the Garden Café. It's a peaceful place to sit down with tea and a pastry for a short break. Late afternoon, Rue Maurice Utrillo. Not far from Sacré-Cœur, on the eastern side of the hill, you'll find Rue Maurice Utrillo. It's not one of Paris's headline attractions, but that's exactly what makes it interesting. This side street offers a quieter, more local-feeling perspective on Montmartre, with elegant architecture and a very photogenic atmosphere. You don't need long here. 10 minutes is enough, but it's a worthwhile detour if you want a spot that feels a little less obvious. Later in the afternoon, head toward Canal Saint-Martin, one of the trendiest and most relaxed areas in central Paris. This canal, stretching about 2.8 miles, links the Canal de l'Orque with the Seine and was originally commissioned by Napoleon I in the year 1802. Today, it's a favorite local hangout. People come here to walk along the water, sit with friends, enjoy a drink, or simply watch the city drift by at a slower pace. Fans of Amélie may recognize it as the canal where the main character loves to skim stones. You can explore it on foot, or even take a boat ride if you want a different perspective. Along the water, places like Hôtel du Nord and Le Verre Volé are great for a drink or a casual bite. From Montmartre, it's about a 30 to 40-minute walk to the northern end of the canal, or you can take the metro from Anvers to Jaurès. Insider tip: late afternoon is one of the best times to be here, when locals gather by the canal for drinks, snacks, and impromptu picnics. Evening. Arc de Triomphe. Once you've had your fill of Canal Saint-Martin, take the metro to Charles de Gaulle Étoile, where one of Paris's most famous monuments rises above the traffic circle, the Arc de Triomphe. Built to honor those who died for France during the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, the monument is one of the city's most important symbols. Beneath the arch lies the tomb of the unknown soldier from World War I, along with the eternal flame. Even from ground level, the monument is impressive, especially in the evening light. But if you're willing to climb the 280 steps, the observation deck offers a beautiful panoramic view over Paris and its radiating boulevards. Admission is about $18. The top remains open until 10:30 p.m. in winter and 11 p.m. in summer. Insider tip: if you can, Time your visit around 6:30 p.m., when the eternal flame is rekindled in a moving daily ceremony. Night. Montmartre, after dark. For your second-to-last night in Paris, head back to Montmartre. One of the best things about spending several days in the city is that you don't have to experience a neighborhood only once. Montmartre in daylight feels artistic and romantic. Montmartre at night feels livelier, moodier, and full of energy. For dinner, good options include La Boîte aux Lettres, Chez Plumeau, or La Taverne de Montmartre. All three offer that classic Paris bistro atmosphere people dream about when imagining an evening in the city. Dinner will typically cost around $40 to $60 per person. And while you're in the area, make sure to stop by the legendary Moulin Rouge. Its famous red windmill, glowing at night, is one of the most recognizable sights in Paris. Even if you don't go inside, seeing the exterior lit up is part of the Montmartre experience. If you do want the full show, the Fairy performances take place nightly at 7 p.m., 9 p.m., and 11 p.m., with ticket prices starting at around $125. Booking ahead online is strongly recommended. It's definitely a splurge, but for some travelers, it becomes one of the most memorable nights of the entire trip. And if a cabaret show isn't your thing, simply swing by earlier in the evening to admire the building and soak up the atmosphere around it. And remember, Paris's top attractions sell out fast. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Versailles, they all book up days in advance. If you want to follow this itinerary without stress, book your tickets now. Scan the QR codes on screen for Get Your Guide or Viator, skip the line, and spend your time exploring, not waiting. Don't leave this to chance. Paris rewards those who come prepared. Day 4. Historic Paris and Hidden Corners. Every great city has a beginning. For Paris, that beginning is a small island in the middle of the Seine, Île de la Cité. This is where the Romans settled over 2,000 years ago, and standing here today, you can still feel the weight of all that history beneath your feet. Come early. The narrow streets are quiet at this hour. The light hits the stone buildings in the most beautiful way, and for a few magical minutes, the city feels like it belongs only to you. And the best part? Simply walking the island costs nothing. At the heart of the island stands Notre Dame de Paris. Construction began in the year 1163 and took nearly 2 centuries to complete. The fire of 2019 was a devastating blow, but walk past today and you will see something remarkable. The scaffolding is slowly coming down. Notre Dame is coming back. Even mid-restoration, this cathedral commands your full attention. Stand in front of it, look up, and let the scale of it sink in. Just steps away lies one of Paris's best-kept secrets. 𝐸𝐴𝐵 does not have the fame of Notre Dame, but step inside and you will understand why those in the know always make time for it. Floor-to-ceiling stained glass. 15 panels of color that transform sunlight into something that feels almost sacred. Tickets are around $14. Book ahead and skip the line. Right next door, the Conciergerie tells a darker story. This Gothic fortress served as a prison during the French Revolution, and its most famous prisoner was Marie Antoinette, who spent her final days here before her execution. Inside, you can visit a reconstruction of her cell and feel the full weight of that turbulent chapter in French history. Tickets are around $14, or combine with 𝐸𝐴𝐵 for around $22. Always book online to save time. Afternoon, the Latin Quarter. Cross the Petit Pont, and the mood shifts completely. The Latin Quarter is not about monuments, it is about atmosphere. Winding streets, open terraces, the smell of fresh coffee drifting from a corner cafe. This is the Paris that locals actually live in. Slow down here. Wander without a plan. Let a cobblestone alley lead you somewhere unexpected. And when your feet need a rest, any cafe will do. a coffee and a pastry for $5 to $10, and suddenly the city feels very, very good. 5 minutes from Notre Dame, tucked along the riverbank, is one of the most enchanting bookshops in the world. 𝐲𝐸 Company has been a haven for writers and dreamers since the year 1919, a place where Hemingway once browsed the shelves and where that same literary spirit somehow still lingers today. You do not need to buy anything. Just walk in, breathe it in, and let the place work its magic. Late afternoon, Odette Cafe. By now you have earned something sweet. Odette Notre Dame is the answer. Their choux à la crème are legendary, light, airy, and utterly Parisian. Budget around $10 to $15 for coffee and pastry. Insider tip: ask about the rooftop terrace. If you can get a spot up there, you will be enjoying your dessert with Notre Dame as your backdrop. Not a bad way to spend a Tuesday. A 10-minute walk brings you to the Panthéon, one of Paris's most quietly powerful monuments. This neoclassical mausoleum was built to honor the greatest minds of France, and inside, Voltaire, Victor Hugo, and Marie Curie rest side by side. Tickets are around $14, but on the first Sunday of each month between November and March, entry is completely free. From the Panthéon, a 15-minute walk leads you to the Jardin des Plantes, a vast botanical garden that has been a refuge for Parisians since the 17th century. Flowers, ancient trees, quiet paths. It is the kind of place that makes you forget you are in one of the busiest cities in the world. Entry is free, and the gardens open daily at 7:30 a.m. A final evening in Paris. And so, the last evening arrives. The Latin Quarter is the perfect place to end it. Find a table at Le Bar de Fer, order a glass of wine and a charcuterie board, and let the live music carry the night. Budget around $20 to $30. Or simply walk, one last time through streets that are somehow more beautiful after dark. Watch the monuments light up, the cafes fill, the Seine reflect the glow of the city above it. Paris has a way of staying with you long after you leave. And somewhere between the first coffee of the morning and this last glass of wine, it quietly became yours. Before we continue, there is something that will make your entire journey so much easier. We have created free travel guides for every city featured in this video. Inside, you will find the best times to visit, what to see and when to go, where to stay with our top hotel picks, complete day-by-day itineraries, must-try local dishes and where to find them, cultural tips, transportation hacks, and the essential travel gear you do not want to leave home without. This is not just another travel guide. Think of it as your personal roadmap to exploring these cities like a local, without the stress, without the guesswork, and without missing a single thing. Scan the QR code on your screen right now and download yours for free. Because the best trips are not just the ones you dream about, they are the ones you plan well. The best way to travel from Paris to Lucerne. After soaking in the beauty, the food, and the effortless elegance of Paris, it is time to trade city life for something completely different, something that will genuinely take your breath away. Welcome to the Swiss Alps. The best way to make this journey is by train, and it is one of the most scenic rides in all of Europe. You will typically take a high-speed train from Paris to Basel, followed by a short connection into Lucerne. Total travel time is around 4 to 5 hours, but trust me, you will not be watching the clock. Somewhere along the way, the flat French countryside slowly gives way to rolling hills, then dramatic mountain peaks, and before you know it, you are looking out the window at landscapes that feel almost too beautiful to be real. Flying into Zurich is possible, but once you factor in airport time and transfers, it rarely saves you time, and you miss what is honestly one of the highlights of this entire itinerary. One insider tip: grab a window seat. This is one of those journeys where the ride itself is just as memorable as the destination. From the City of Lights, to the heart of the Alps. Next stop, Lucerne. Day 1. Lucerne Old Town. There are cities you visit, and cities that feel like they stepped straight out of a fairy tale. Lucerne is definitely one of them. Your first morning begins at the heart of the city, standing beside one of the most photographed landmarks in all of Switzerland. Kapellbrücke, the Chapel Bridge. Built in the year 1333, this wooden-covered bridge stretches diagonally across the turquoise waters of the Reuss River. What makes it truly special are the triangular paintings tucked inside the roof, each one telling a story from Lucerne's medieval past. Insider tip. Come early. Around 8 a.m., the crowds are still light, the lake is calm, and the morning light reflects beautifully off the water. This is Lucerne, before the world wakes up, and it's magical. Pause halfway across the bridge and look toward the octagonal water tower standing at its side, once used as a prison, a treasury, and even a torture chamber. Hard to believe such a peaceful place once had such a dark past. This is the moment you realize something important about Lucerne. This city isn't just beautiful, it feels timeless. Mid-morning, Lucerne Old Town. From the bridge, step straight into the cobblestone streets of Lucerne Old Town. This part of the city looks almost unchanged since the Middle Ages. Pastel-colored houses line the narrow streets, many decorated with painted frescoes telling stories of merchants, guilds, and forgotten events. Wander slowly until you reach Weinmarkt Square, one of the most charming plazas in the city. Lucerne is wonderfully compact. You can explore most of Old Town on foot in just an hour or two. Along the way, you'll discover local chocolate shops, traditional Swiss bakeries, and small cafes with terraces overlooking the river. Insider tip. Stop for a cappuccino and a fresh croissant at one of the bakeries along the way. Swiss pastries are seriously underrated, and the perfect fuel for the morning ahead. A short 10-minute walk from Old Town brings you to one of the most emotional landmarks in Switzerland. The Lion Monument. Carved directly into a sandstone cliff, this wounded lion commemorates the Swiss guards who died during the French Revolution in the year 1792. The sculpture shows a dying lion protecting a broken shield, a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. When American writer Mark Twain visited Lucerne, he called it the saddest and most moving piece of stone in the world. Standing here quietly, it's easy to understand why. Take a moment by the small reflective pond in front of the monument. The stillness here adds to everything. Lunch, Lucerne, Old Town. By now, it's the perfect time for lunch back in the Old Town. Look for a cozy restaurant serving traditional Swiss dishes. Think cheese fondue, rusty with sausage, or Swiss Alpine macaroni. Expect to pay roughly $20 to $35 per person depending on where you sit. Insider tip. If the weather is kind, always choose a table outside. Watching the world go by in Lucerne's Old Town is part of the experience itself. Afternoon, 𝐲𝐸𝐴𝐿. After lunch, head uphill toward one of Lucerne's best-kept secrets, the 𝐲𝐸𝐴𝐿. Built in the year 1386, this remarkably well-preserved medieval wall once protected the city from invaders. Several of its towers are open to visitors, and climbing them rewards you with one of the finest views in all of Lucerne. From the top, you'll see the red rooftops of Old Town, the turquoise Reuss River below, and the distant Swiss Alps rising beyond the lake. Insider tip. One of the towers still houses a historic clock that rings 1 minute before every other clock in the city, one of Lucerne's oldest and most charming traditions. Walking back toward the river, you'll soon reach one of the most beautiful churches in the city. The Jesuit Church of Lucerne. Built in the year 1677, this church was the first large Baroque church built in Switzerland. Step inside and you'll immediately notice the elegant white interior, golden decorations, and detailed ceiling paintings that seem to float above you. Compared to many European churches, the atmosphere here feels peaceful and intimate, the perfect quiet stop before heading back outside to the lake. As the afternoon slowly turns into evening, make your way to the waterfront of Lake Lucerne. The promenade along the lake is one of the most enchanting places in the entire city. Paddle steamers crossing the water, locals relaxing by the shoreline, swans drifting slowly across the lake. And in the distance, the dramatic peaks of the Swiss Alps begin to glow as the sun sets behind them. This is one of those moments that makes Lucerne unforgettable. End your first day back in Lucerne's old town. As evening falls, the city becomes even more magical. The bridges light up, reflections shimmer on the river, and the medieval streets feel almost cinematic. Choose a traditional Swiss restaurant and take your time. Try the cheese fondue, the veal-prepared 𝐲𝐸𝐿 style, or finish with a Swiss chocolate dessert. Dinner typically ranges from $30 to $50 per person. After dinner, take one last slow walk across Chapel Bridge. Seeing it illuminated at night is the perfect way to close your first day in Lucerne. And tomorrow? The mountains are waiting. Here's the thing about Lucerne. The city is beautiful on its own, but some of its finest experiences, the guided walks through Old Town, the boat cruises on the lake, the day trips up to Mount Pilatus or Rigi, are simply better when someone who knows the place takes you there. A good guided tour doesn't just show you where to go, it tells you the stories behind what you're seeing, and in a city as layered as Lucerne, those stories make all the difference. On screen, you'll see 2 QR codes for the platforms we trust most: Get Your Guide and Viator. Scan one and take a look at what's available during your visit. Guided Old Town walks, lake cruises, mountain excursions, and full-day trips into the Swiss Alps, all in one place, all easy to book in advance. We've also added direct links in the description below. Browse, pick what fits your itinerary, and book before you arrive. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one often comes down to what you planned before you even left home. Lucerne is already magical. The right guide just makes it extraordinary. Day 2. Mountains and Lake Lucerne. Some mornings begin quietly, but this one begins with mountains rising out of the mist. Start your second day early at the waterfront of Lake Lucerne, where one of Switzerland's most scenic journeys is about to begin. Skip the train, take the more memorable route instead, a historic paddle steamer crossing the lake. These elegant boats glide slowly across deep blue water, surrounded by alpine peaks on every side. As the city fades behind you, Lucerne reveals a completely different side of itself. The journey toward the village of 𝐲𝐸𝐿 takes about 1 hour, and every minute feels like a postcard. Insider tip. Sit outside on the upper deck. The fresh alpine air and panoramic views make the ride unforgettable, and if you look closely, you might even spot paragliders floating high above the mountains. Mid-morning, Mount Pilatus. From 𝐲𝐸𝐿 begins one of the most dramatic mountain journeys in Europe. This is where you board the legendary Mount Pilatus cogwheel railway, and this is no ordinary train. With a gradient of nearly 48%, it is the steepest cogwheel railway in the world. Slowly, the train climbs through forests, past alpine meadows, and eventually above the clouds. Within about 30 minutes, you arrive at the summit, elevation, over 7,000 feet above sea level. And the view? Absolutely breathtaking. Lake Lucerne stretching like a fjord below, dozens of alpine peaks, valleys, disappearing, into the distance. On a clear day, the panorama seems endless. Take your time exploring the summit area, panoramic terraces, short walking trails, and viewpoints in every direction. The best of them is the short climb up to 𝐯𝐴𝐻𝐿, the highest accessible point, where the Alps surround you completely. Legend has it that Mount Pilatus was once believed to be home to dragons and spirits, and standing on this rugged peak, wrapped in shifting clouds and dramatic cliffs, it's easy to imagine why. Plan to spend about 1 to 2 hours here, exploring, taking photos, and simply soaking it all in. Before heading back down, enjoy lunch at the mountain restaurant near the summit. Few places in the world offer a lunch view like this. Think Swiss rusty, alpine sausage, or a warm soup perfect for the mountain air. Expect prices around $20 to $35, fairly typical for restaurants in the Swiss Alps. And yes, the view is absolutely worth it. Afternoon, the Dragon Ride, cable car. Instead of returning the same way, take the famous Dragon Ride cable car down the other side of Mount Pilatus. The cabins are large and panoramic, almost like floating glass rooms suspended in the air. As you descend, rocky cliffs slowly give way to green alpine meadows, tiny farmhouses, and grazing cows with their unmistakable bells echoing through the valleys. Within about 30 minutes, you arrive in the village of 𝐲𝐿, where buses connect back to Lucerne. Insider tip. This full loop is known as the Golden Round Trip, and it's easily one of the most scenic excursions in all of Switzerland. Book it in advance through Get Your Guide or Viator using the links in the description below. By mid-afternoon, you'll be back in the city. After a big mountain adventure, Lucerne suddenly feels calm and relaxed again. Take a slow walk along the waterfront, or return to Old Town for a bit of souvenir shopping. Lucerne is famous for Swiss watches, handmade chocolate, and traditional Swiss army knives. Even if you're not buying, wandering the charming streets again is the perfect way to unwind. Before dinner, make your way back to the shores of Lake Lucerne one last time. The mountains slowly turn golden, the water reflects the fading light, and the historic paddle steamers glide quietly across the lake. It's the kind of peaceful moment that makes Lucerne unforgettable. Final dinner in Lucerne. For your final evening, choose a restaurant with views of the river or the lake. After 2 days exploring the city and the mountains, you've earned a relaxed dinner. A perfect Swiss evening might include fondue shared at the table, a glass of Swiss white wine, and a classic Swiss chocolate dessert. Expect dinner prices between $35 and $60 per person. And as the lights of the city reflect in the water, you might find yourself thinking something many travelers realize here. Lucerne may be small, but it leaves a very big impression. The best way to travel, from Lucerne to Venice. After the stillness of the Swiss lakes and the majesty of the Alpine peaks, your journey now takes a dramatic turn. And this might just be the most spectacular travel day of your entire trip. The train is the only way to do this route justice. You will wind your way through the heart of the Swiss Alps, passing through tunnels carved into mountainsides, gliding past remote mountain villages, and dropping down through breathtaking valleys, often along the legendary Gotthard line. The journey takes around 5 to 6 hours, usually with one easy connection in Milan. But this is not just transportation. This is the journey. Flying from Zurich to Venice is an option, but once you add airport transfers and waiting time, you rarely save a single minute. And you trade one of Europe's most beautiful train rides for a middle seat at 30,000 feet. One insider tip: sit on the left side of the train when heading south. That is where the most dramatic alpine views unfold, so keep your camera within reach. And then, somewhere along the way, The mountains slowly disappear, the landscape softens, and before you know it, you are no longer arriving at a station. You are arriving by water. Welcome to Venice. Day 1. The heart of Venice. Imagine stepping into a city that seems to float on water, where narrow canals replace streets, gondolas glide silently beneath ancient bridges, and every corner feels like a scene from a Renaissance painting. Welcome to Venice, one of the most magical cities on Earth. On your first day, we're diving straight into the heart of it. From the iconic grandeur of St. Mark's Square to the buzzing energy of the Rialto, and ending the day with a sunset over the Grand Canal that you will never forget. Let's begin. Morning, St. Mark's Square. Start your day early, around 8 a.m., before the cruise ships arrive and the crowds fill the narrow streets. Walk through the quiet alleyways, and then suddenly, the city opens up into one of the most breathtaking squares in the world. St. Mark's Square. Napoleon once called this the most beautiful drawing room in Europe, and standing here in the soft morning light, it's easy to understand why. The golden domes of St. Mark's Basilica glow above you. The elegant campanile, the bell tower that has watched over Venice for nearly 1,000 years, rises into the sky. Pigeons circle overhead, footsteps echo across the ancient stone, and for a moment, it feels as if the entire city is holding its breath. Mid-morning, St. Mark's Basilica. Step inside St. Mark's Basilica, and the atmosphere changes instantly. The ceiling above you erupts into thousands of golden mosaics, shimmering softly in the dim light, telling stories from the Bible across more than 85,000 square feet of surface. Make sure to climb up to the terrace of the basilica. From there, you get an incredible view over St. Mark's Square, with the lagoon stretching out toward the horizon. Insider tip: book skip-the-line tickets in advance. In peak season, the queue can easily stretch over an hour. Late morning, Doge's Palace. Right next door stands one of Venice's most fascinating buildings, Doge's Palace. For centuries, this was the political center of the Venetian Republic, one of the most powerful maritime empires in history. Inside, you'll find enormous chambers decorated with dramatic paintings by masters like Tintoretto and Veronese. The highlight is the Great Council Chamber, one of the largest rooms in Europe not supported by columns. But perhaps the most intriguing moment comes at the end of the visit, when a narrow corridor leads you across the famous Bridge of Sighs. The Bridge of Sighs. This elegant white stone bridge connects the palace to the old prison. Its poetic name comes from the prisoners who crossed it centuries ago, taking what was believed to be their last glimpse of Venice before being locked away. Today, it's one of the most photographed bridges in the city, and if you look down at the canal below, you'll often see gondolas drifting quietly beneath it. Lunch, Rialto area. From here, wander through Venice's maze of narrow streets toward the Rialto Bridge. The walk itself is part of the experience. Tiny canals, hidden courtyards, and small bakeries filling the air with the smell of fresh bread. Once you reach the Rialto market area, find a small 𝐲𝐿 bar and try Venice's version of tapas. Little bites of seafood, cheese, and cured meats, served with a glass of local wine. Simple, delicious, and very Venetian. Afternoon, Rialto Bridge. Just steps away stands the most famous bridge in Venice. Built in the late 1500s, this stone masterpiece spans the Grand Canal, connecting the two busiest parts of the city. From the top, you'll see water buses navigating the canal, gondolas weaving between them, and centuries-old palaces lining the water like a living museum. Take your time here. This is one of those places where Venice truly feels timeless. Late afternoon, Grand Canal Vaporetto ride. One of the best ways to see Venice isn't by walking, but by riding along its main waterway. Hop on Vaporetto Line 1, Venice's water bus, for a slow ride along the Grand Canal. Along the way, you'll pass stunning palaces like 𝐲𝐸, Palazzo Grassi, and the elegant Accademia Bridge. Every turn reveals another postcard-perfect scene. Sunset, Accademia Bridge. As the day begins to fade, make your way to Accademia Bridge, one of the absolute best places in Venice to watch the sunset. As the golden light reflects off the Grand Canal, the entire city seems to glow. Gondolas drift silently beneath the bridge, church bells echo in the distance, and the sky slowly turns shades of orange and pink. It's one of those moments that reminds you why Venice has inspired artists, writers, and travelers for centuries. Evening, Dorsoduro District. To end your day, cross into the charming Dorsoduro District, a quieter and more local part of Venice. Here you'll find small piazzas, cozy wine bars, and restaurants filled with locals rather than tourists. The pace slows down, the canals grow calm, and Venice feels wonderfully authentic again. Dinner, traditional Venetian restaurant. For dinner, try some classic Venetian dishes, a fresh seafood risotto, spaghetti alle vongole, or a plate of local cicchetti paired with a glass of Italian wine. And as the evening settles over the canals, you'll realize something. Venice isn't just a city you visit, it's a city you feel. And tomorrow, we'll discover even more of its magic, including some of the most colorful islands in the entire lagoon. But that's day 2. Here's the thing about Venice. St. Mark's Basilica gets packed, Doge's Palace sells out, the gondola rides and sunset Vaporetto tours, fully booked days in advance. And nothing kills the magic of a perfectly planned itinerary faster than standing in line for 2 hours, or worse, finding out it's sold out when you arrive. If you want to follow this 2-day itinerary the way it's meant to be experienced, you need to book ahead. Not maybe, not if you feel like it, you need to. On screen, you'll see 2 QR codes for the most reliable platforms we trust: Get Your Guide and Viator. Scan one, book your tickets now, skip the line options when available. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one often comes down to what you planned before you even left home. We've also added direct booking links in the description below with skip-the-line access and guided tours where it matters most. Don't leave this to chance. Venice rewards those who come prepared. Day 2. Venice Beyond the Crowds. After experiencing the iconic heart of Venice yesterday, today we discover a completely different side of the city. A side where colorful fishing villages rise from the lagoon, where centuries-old traditions are still alive, and where quiet canals replace the busy tourist streets. Today, we leave the crowds behind and explore the Venetian lagoon. Morning, Murano Island. Start your morning at the Vaporetto station and catch a water bus toward Murano, the island that has been famous for glassmaking for more than 700 years. As Venice slowly fades behind you, the lagoon opens up, and soon the church towers of Murano appear on the horizon. Murano may look peaceful today, but it once played a crucial role in Venice's economy. Back in the 13th century, all glassmakers were forced to move here from the mainland to prevent fires in the city and to protect the secrets of their craft. Step inside one of the workshops and watch master artisans transform glowing molten glass into delicate works of art within seconds. Vases, chandeliers, sculptures, each piece shaped entirely by hand. It is mesmerizing to watch. Late morning, Burano Island. From Murano, hop back on the Vaporetto and continue to one of the most photogenic places in all of Italy, Burano. As you arrive, the first thing you'll notice is the explosion of color. Bright pink houses, electric blues, sunny yellows, every building painted in bold, cheerful shades. According to local legend, fishermen painted their homes in vibrant colors so they could recognize them from far away when returning through the fog. Whether that story is true or not, it certainly created one of the most beautiful villages in Europe. Take some time to wander along the canals, cross the tiny bridges, and simply enjoy the relaxed pace of island life. Lunch. Burano. Burano is also a fantastic place to stop for lunch. Many small restaurants serve traditional lagoon cuisine, often featuring freshly caught seafood. One dish you'll often find on the menu is risotto di 𝐲𝐿, a creamy risotto made with a small local lagoon fish. Pair it with a glass of local wine, sit outside by the canal, and enjoy the view of colorful houses reflecting in the water. It's the kind of lunch that makes you want to stay all afternoon. Afternoon. 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬 district. After lunch, take the Vaporetto back to Venice. But instead of returning to the busy center, we're heading somewhere much quieter. Welcome to 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬, one of the most authentic neighborhoods in Venice. This is where many locals actually live, far from the crowded streets around St. Mark's Square. The canals here feel calmer, the cafes are filled with Venetians rather than tourists, and walking through this district gives you a glimpse of what everyday life in Venice truly looks like. The Jewish Ghetto. Hidden within 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬 is a place of deep historical significance. Established in the year 1516, the Jewish Ghetto of Venice was the first officially designated ghetto in the world. Jewish residents were required to live within these walls, and the gates were locked each night. Because space was so limited, the buildings here were constructed unusually tall, some reaching 7 or 8 stories high. Today, the neighborhood is peaceful, with small squares, historic synagogues, and quiet cafes where you can pause for a coffee and let the history sink in. Late afternoon, hidden canals walk. From the ghetto, continue walking through the quieter canals around Madonna dell'Orto. This is where Venice feels wonderfully untouched. Laundry hanging between buildings, small boats tied to wooden doors. Reflections of old brick houses shimmering in the water. It's the kind of Venice most visitors never see. Sunset. Fondamenta della Misericordia. As the sun begins to set, make your way to Fondamenta della Misericordia, a long canal-side promenade that is one of the favorite evening gathering spots for locals. People sit along the water with a drink, friends meet after work, and the restaurants slowly fill with the sound of conversation. Order an aperitivo, watch the sunset reflect across the canal, and enjoy the relaxed rhythm of Venetian life. Dinner. Local osteria. For your final dinner in Venice, find a cozy osteria nearby and enjoy one last taste of Venetian cuisine. Fresh seafood pasta, crispy fried calamari, or a plate of �伊𝐡𝐚𝐭 paired with a glass of Italian wine. And as the lights of the city begin to reflect across the quiet canals, you realize something special. Venice is more than a destination. It's a place where history, art, and everyday life blend together in the most beautiful way. 2 days may only be enough to scratch the surface, but once you've experienced Venice like this, one thing is almost guaranteed. You'll want to come back. The best way to travel from Venice to Florence. After losing yourself in the canals, the gondolas, and the timeless magic of Venice, it is time to move on. And your next destination is one that has been inspiring artists, architects, and dreamers for centuries. Next stop, Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance. And the good news is, this is one of the easiest travel days of your entire trip. High-speed trains connect Venice to Florence in just about 2 hours, whisking you from city center to city center in total comfort, with no airports, no stress, and no wasted time. Just sit back, watch the Italian countryside roll by, and let the anticipation build. Flying simply does not make sense on this route. By the time you reach the airport, check in, and clear security, you could already be stepping off the train in Florence. One insider tip: book your tickets in advance and reserve your seat. Italian high-speed trains are reliable and comfortable, but they fill up fast, especially in peak season. In just 2 hours, you go from gondolas on the Grand Canal to Renaissance masterpieces and the finest food in all of Italy. Welcome to Florence. Day 1. The heart of the Renaissance. This is Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, where every corner feels like a living museum. But with so much to see, planning your time here can feel overwhelming. So today, we're starting right in the heart of the city, building up from quiet morning streets to iconic landmarks to one unforgettable sunset that will stay with you long after you leave. Let's start. Day 1. Morning, Piazza della Repubblica. We begin early in Piazza della Repubblica. At this hour, Florence feels different, calmer, softer, almost like the city hasn't fully woken up yet. This square sits on top of what used to be the ancient Roman Forum, making it one of the oldest and most central points in the entire city. Give yourself a few minutes here, take it in, because in just a short while these quiet streets will be filled with energy. Breakfast Italian style. Before diving into the sights, it's time to do what the Italians do best. Slow down for a moment. Find a small cafe nearby and order a cappuccino and a cornetto. Simple, light, and exactly how mornings in Florence are meant to begin. Insider tip: Italians don't linger over breakfast for long, so enjoy it, but don't stay too long, because your first major highlight is already waiting. Mid-morning, the Duomo. As you walk toward the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, it suddenly appears between the streets, massive, detailed, and impossible to ignore. The Duomo isn't just Florence's most iconic landmark, it's one of the most impressive architectural achievements in the world. And if you do one thing here, make it this: climb it. Book your tickets in advance. Entry is timed, and arriving about 10 to 15 minutes early will save you a lot of stress. The climb itself is 463 steps through narrow staircases that wind their way up inside the dome. About halfway, you'll find yourself face to face with breathtaking frescoes that cover the interior. A moment that feels almost surreal. And then, you reach the top. From here, Florence stretches out in every direction: terracotta rooftops, church towers, and in the distance, the rolling hills of Tuscany. Take your time up here, because this view is something you'll remember. Late morning, Cathedral Square. Back down on the ground, spend some time exploring the square around the cathedral. Look closely at the marble facade, the intricate details, the colors, the sheer scale of it all. It's easy to rush through this area, but slowing down here makes a real difference. If the line isn't too long, step inside the cathedral as well. But if it is, don't worry. There's still so much more to see today. Midday, Galleria dell'Accademia. A short walk from the Duomo brings you to one of Florence's true highlights, the Galleria dell'Accademia. And let's be honest, there's one reason almost everyone comes here: Michelangelo's David. Expect lines. They can easily stretch over an hour, so booking a skip-the-line ticket is absolutely worth it. Once inside, the experience builds slowly until you step into the hall where David stands. And even if you've seen pictures before, nothing prepares you for this. The scale, the detail, the way the light hits the marble, it doesn't feel like a statue. It feels alive. Lunch, Florence street food. By now, you've earned a break. And in Florence, that means one thing: a proper Italian sandwich. Head over to 𝐼𝐡𝐚𝐭 Vinaio, one of the most famous spots in the city. Yes, there will probably be a line, but trust me, it moves fast, and it is worth every minute. Fresh bread, high-quality ingredients, simple combinations, done perfectly. Grab your sandwich to go and enjoy it in one of the nearby squares, because sometimes the best meals aren't in restaurants, they're right here, in the streets. Afternoon, Piazza della Signoria. After lunch, make your way to Piazza della Signoria. This square feels like an open-air museum. You'll find the imposing Palazzo Vecchio, the Fountain of Neptune, and under the 𝐲𝐨𝐝𝐿, sculptures that date back centuries. And right at the entrance, a replica of David stands proudly, a reminder of the original you just saw. Take your time walking through here. There's history in every direction. Quick stop, Porcellino and Gelato. Just a short walk away, you'll find one of Florence's more playful traditions, the Porcellino fountain. Place a coin in the boar's mouth, let it fall, and if it lands in the grate below, it's said to bring you good luck, and more importantly, it means you'll return to Florence one day. After that, find a good gelato spot and take a proper break. Insider tip: avoid places where the gelato is piled high in bright artificial colors. The best ones are often stored in covered metal containers. Simple, but the quality is on another level. Late afternoon, Ponte Vecchio. From here, walk toward the Arno River and onto the Ponte Vecchio. Florence's oldest bridge, lined with small shops that have stood here for centuries. Yes, it's busy. Yes, it's crowded. But it's also one of those places you simply cannot skip. Pause in the middle of the bridge. Look out over the river. This is Florence at its most iconic. Sunset, along the Arno. As the day comes to an end, stay close to the river, because this is where Florence truly shines. As the sun begins to set, the light turns golden, reflecting off the water and the buildings around you. The Ponte Vecchio glows, the city softens. And for a moment, everything slows down. This is the kind of moment you don't plan, but you never forget. Dinner, a Tuscan evening. To finish your first day, sit down for a proper Tuscan dinner, somewhere cozy, somewhere local. Order a fresh pasta, or if you're feeling bold, the famous bistecca alla Fiorentina, and don't forget a glass of Chianti. Because this is Florence, and here, even dinner feels like part of the experience. Day 1 in Florence, and it already feels like you've stepped into another world. But trust me, we're just getting started. Tomorrow, we'll explore Florence from above, dive deeper into its art, and uncover even more of what makes this city unforgettable. So make sure you're ready, because day 2 might be even better. Here's the thing about Florence. The Duomo sells out. The Galleria dell'Accademia has lines that stretch around the block. And skip the line tickets for Michelangelo's David? Gone days in advance. Nothing kills the magic of a perfectly planned itinerary faster than standing in line for 2 hours, or worse, finding out it's fully booked when you arrive. If you want to follow this 2-day itinerary the way it's meant to be experienced, you need to book ahead. Not maybe. Not if you feel like it. You need to. On screen, you'll see 2 QR codes for the most reliable platforms we trust: Get Your Guide and Viator. Scan 1. Book your tickets now. Skip the line options where available. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one often comes down to what you planned before you even left home. We've also added direct booking links in the description below with skip the line access where it matters most. Don't leave this to chance. Florence rewards those who come prepared. Day 2. A different side of the city. Florence looks different in the morning. Quieter, softer, almost like the city is taking a deep breath before the crowds return. And today, we're going to see it from a completely different perspective. From above, sunrise, 𝐯𝐢𝐝𝐚𝐭. Start your day early and make your way up to 𝐯𝐢𝐝𝐚𝐿. Yes, it's a bit of a climb, but trust me, this is worth every single step. As the city slowly lights up beneath you, you'll see Florence in a way most visitors never do. The Duomo rising above the rooftops, the Arno River cutting through the city, and the warm morning light painting everything in gold. Insider tip: bring a coffee, or even a simple breakfast, because sitting here, watching the city wake up, is one of those rare travel moments that feels completely still. Morning, the Rose Garden. Just below the viewpoint, you'll find a hidden gem that most people walk right past. The Giardino delle Rose, a peaceful garden filled with hundreds of varieties of roses tucked away just beneath the crowds above. And the best part? It's completely free. Walk through it slowly, enjoy the quiet, because this is one of the few places in Florence where time seems to slow down. Breakfast, local, or brunch. After your morning start, head back down into the city for breakfast. You can keep it traditional with a cappuccino and a pastry, or switch things up with a proper brunch spot like Melaleuca Florence, where you'll find eggs Benedict, fresh pastries, and great coffee. Just keep in mind, it's popular, so expect a short wait. Mid-morning, the Uffizi Gallery. Next, it's time to dive into Florence's artistic heart. The Uffizi Gallery is one of the most important art museums in the world. And yes, even if you're not a huge art lover, this is still worth it. Inside, you'll find masterpieces from Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and more, including one of the most famous paintings ever created, The Birth of Venus. Book your tickets in advance, because the lines here can easily stretch over an hour. Give yourself time inside. Don't rush. Even just walking through these rooms, you can feel the weight of history around you. Midday, Piazza della Signoria revisited. Step outside, and you're right back in Piazza della Signoria. But this time, take a deeper look. You've already been here on day 1, but now you understand it differently. The statues, the architecture, the scale, everything connects back to what you just experienced inside the Uffizi. Florence isn't just a city, it's a story, and every place here is part of it. Lunch, Mercato Centrale. By now, you've earned another food stop. Head to the Mercato Centrale. This is Florence's culinary playground. Downstairs, you'll find fresh produce, meats, cheeses, and local specialties. Upstairs, a vibrant food hall where you can choose from pasta, pizza, truffle dishes, and more. Walk around, taste different things, take your time. Because this is Florence, through food. Afternoon, San Lorenzo Market. Right outside, you'll find the San Lorenzo Market. Florence has been famous for leather since the 13th century, and this is one of the places where you'll see it everywhere. Belts, bags, wallets, souvenirs. Honest tip, this area can feel a bit touristy. If you're looking for something high-end, you're better off in the boutique shops elsewhere in the city. But it's still worth walking through, just to feel the energy. Now for something uniquely Italian. Head to Vivoli for an affogato, a scoop of gelato drowned in hot espresso. It sounds simple, but the combination is incredible. Sweet, bitter, creamy, all at once. And honestly, once you try this, your regular coffee might never feel the same again. Early evening, wine windows. Before dinner, there's one more experience you shouldn't miss. Florence's famous wine windows, small openings in the walls of historic buildings where, centuries ago, wine was served directly to the street. And today, you can still use them. Knock, order a glass of local wine, and enjoy it outside. Simple, local, and completely unforgettable. Evening, Pitti Palace and Boboli Gardens. As the afternoon turns into evening, make your way across the river to the Pitti Palace. Behind it, you'll find the Boboli Gardens, wide paths, sculptures, fountains, and views that stretch out over the Tuscan landscape. It's a completely different side of Florence, less crowded, more relaxed, and the perfect place to slow down before your final night. Dinner, the final Florence night. For your last evening, go for something memorable. Find a traditional trattoria, or if you want something truly special, try a place like Osteria Pastella. This is where you'll find pasta finished in a flaming cheese wheel. Rich, indulgent, and unforgettable. Because in Florence, food isn't just food, it's part of the experience. 2 days in Florence, and somehow, it still doesn't feel like enough. From Renaissance masterpieces, to quiet morning views, to meals you'll be talking about for years, this city has a way of staying with you long after you leave. So if Florence is on your list, don't wait. Come experience it for yourself. And until then, keep exploring. The best way to travel from Florence to Rome. After the art, the history, and the extraordinary food of Florence, it is time for the final chapter of this journey, and what a way to end it. Welcome to Rome, the eternal city. Once again, the high-speed train is your best friend. In just 1 hour and 30 minutes, you travel from Florence straight into the heart of Rome. Fast, smooth, and effortless. No airports, no stress, no wasted time. Just one short ride between two of the greatest cities the world has ever known. Flying on this route simply does not make sense. By the time you factor in airport transfers and check-in, the train has already arrived. One insider tip: catch a morning train. They tend to be less crowded, and arriving early gives you a full first day to start exploring. And in Rome, trust me, you will want every hour you can get. In just 90 minutes, you go from Renaissance frescoes and Tuscan rooftops to ancient ruins, iconic landmarks, and 2,000 years of history layered into every cobblestone street. Welcome to Rome. Day 1. Walking through time. Before you even see it, you feel it. There's a hum beneath your feet, a quiet tension in the air. Rome doesn't whisper its history, it echoes it. And today, we walk straight through the core of an empire. Our first day in Rome is like opening the first page of a great novel, except the ink is marble, the characters are emperors, and the setting is 2,000 years old. We'll start at the Colosseum, that ancient beast of stone and shadow. Then wander past ruins and basilicas, climb Emperor's Hills, and end the day in a quiet garden overlooking the city. Drink in hand, pasta on the way. Because in Rome, history isn't just in museums, it's under your shoes. And on day 1, you feel every step. Morning, Colosseum Forum and Palatine Hill. Start early, 8:30 a.m. if you can. The Colosseum is quieter then, and the light is soft. If you've booked arena floor access, even better. Standing in the middle of that stone beast, you feel the roar that once shook these walls. From there, walk past the Arch of Constantine and into the Roman Forum, once the political and spiritual center of the empire. You don't need a guidebook. Just walk, pause, and let the ruins speak. Finish with Palatine Hill. Legend says Romulus founded Rome here. It's peaceful, and the view over the Forum is the kind that makes you stop and breathe. Tip: Bring a refillable water bottle. Rome has ancient fountains with cold, drinkable water. Still free, still flowing. Late morning. San Clemente. Just a 10-minute walk from the Colosseum is San Clemente, a hidden gem. On the surface, it's a church, but go down a level, and you're in a 4th century basilica. Down again? A Roman temple. 3 stories of history, stacked like a time machine. It's cool, it's quiet, and most tourists miss it. You won't. Lunch in Monte. After all that walking, head into Monte, a hip, local neighborhood with vintage shops and ivy-covered walls. Grab a table outside, maybe try 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬. Creamy, peppery, perfectly Roman. Afternoon, Capitoline Hill and Altare della Patria. After lunch, climb Capitoline Hill, redesigned by Michelangelo, for a stunning view back over the Forum. Then walk down to Piazza Venezia and straight into the blinding white monument Romans call the wedding cake. Officially, it's the Altare della Patria, and you can ride the elevator to the top for a full 360-degree view of Rome. Tip: go around 4 p.m. The light is golden and the crowds start to thin. Golden hour, Aventine Hill. Now it's time to slow down. Cross the river and head up the Aventine Hill. First stop, the Orange Garden. Quiet, peaceful, with a postcard view of the city. Then just a few steps away, a simple green door with a keyhole. Look through it. You'll see the dome of St. Peter's perfectly framed by trees and arches. No ticket, no line. Just a moment you won't forget. Evening, Trastevere dinner. End your first day in Trastevere, where vines hang over alleyways and music drifts from open windows. Pick a trattoria, maybe Da Enzo al 29, or one of the candle-lit spots around Piazza Santa Maria. And if you've got room, a slice of pistachio tiramisu from 2 sizes. Trust me, today deserves dessert. Day 1 in Rome isn't just sightseeing, it's standing in the bones of the past and still being able to smell the coffee down the street. It's old stone, soft sunsets, and the feeling that somehow you've been here before. Here's the thing about Rome. The Colosseum sells out. The Vatican museums get packed weeks in advance. The Sistine Chapel, fully booked before most travelers even think to check. And nothing kills the magic of a perfectly planned itinerary faster than standing in line for 2 hours, or worse, finding out it's sold out when you arrive. If you want to follow this itinerary the way it's meant to be experienced, you need to book ahead. Not maybe. Not if you feel like it. You need to. On screen, you'll see 2 QR codes for the most reliable platforms we trust: Get Your Guide and Viator. Scan 1. Book your tickets now. Skip the line options when available. Because the difference between a good trip and an unforgettable one often comes down to what you planned before you even left home. We've also added direct booking links in the description below with skip the line access where it matters most. Don't leave this to chance. Rome rewards those who come prepared. Day 2. Fountains, Views, and Hidden Beauty. If yesterday was ancient stone and empire, today is all about beauty. Fountains, piazzas, and those little corners of Rome that sneak into your heart. Day 2 is lighter on the legs but richer in feeling. It's about seeing Rome, not just the monuments, but the energy between them. We'll start with a wish, climb to a view, drift through piazzas and paintings, and end with gelato and glowing streets. Morning, Trevi Fountain and Spanish Steps. Set your alarm. Early morning is the only time the Trevi Fountain feels like yours. It's not just a photo op. Toss a coin, right hand over your left shoulder. Legend says you'll return to Rome. And let's be honest, you'll want to. From there, it's a short walk to the Spanish Steps. Climb the 138 steps to the Trinità dei Monti Church at the top. Take in the view and let the city stretch out below you like a canvas. You can't sit on the steps anymore, but you can pause, breathe, and enjoy the light. Late morning, Terrazza del Pincio and Villa Borghese. Keep walking upward, and you'll find the Pincian Terrace, Terrazza del Pincio. It's one of the best viewpoints in Rome. An early morning here is peaceful, almost poetic. Just behind it lies Villa Borghese, Rome's central park, full of sculptures, fountains, and tree-lined paths. If you love art, book ahead for the Borghese Gallery, home to Bernini, Caravaggio, Raphael, all inside a stunning villa. If not, just wander. Rent a bike, grab a coffee, let the city breathe around you. Tip: the Borghese Gallery requires timed tickets. Book at least a day in advance. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description for the best guided tours Villa Borghese has to offer. They do sell out fast. Lunch, near Piazza del Popolo. Head down toward Piazza del Popolo, a grand square framed by twin churches and an ancient obelisk. For lunch, skip the main square and dive into the side streets. Try Zelda Ristorante for cozy charm, or Brillo for something modern and fresh. Rome rewards curiosity. The best meals are usually just off the main road. In the afternoon, Pantheon and Piazza Navona. After lunch, take your time walking toward the Pantheon. It's hard to explain how powerful this place is until you step inside. The dome, the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome, opens to the sky like a giant eye. The light moves through it like a sundial. Timeless, elegant, quietly astonishing. From there, stroll to Piazza Navona, one of Rome's most beautiful squares. Fountains, street performers, cafes. It's the kind of place where you accidentally stay too long, and that's okay. Golden Hour, Campo de Fiori and rooftop drinks. Just a few minutes away lies Campo de Fiori, a lively market by day, a relaxed square by evening. Grab a drink at Acquaroof Terrazza Molinari, or any rooftop bar with a view. Golden Hour in Rome has a different rhythm. Everything slows down. No monuments, no must-sees, just colors, sounds, and the hum of a city that knows how to live. In the evening, gelato and walk back. End the day like a Roman, with gelato in hand and nowhere to be. Try 𝐲𝐝 Frigidarium or Gelateria del Teatro, all locals' favorites. Walk back slowly, through cobbled alleys, past glowing lampposts, maybe toward the Tiber. There's no rush. Rome waits. Today wasn't about ticking boxes. It was about feeling the city, the way the water moves in a fountain, the curve of a dome, the smell of espresso drifting out of an open door. One more day to go. Tomorrow we'll see the Vatican, a secret hilltop view, and a sunset you'll never forget. Before we continue, there is something that will make your entire journey so much easier. We have created free travel guides for every city featured in this video. Inside, you will find the best times to visit, what to see, and when to go, where to stay with our top hotel picks, complete day-by-day itineraries, must-try local dishes and where to find them, cultural tips, transportation hacks, and the essential travel gear you do not want to leave home without. This is not just another travel guide. Think of it as your personal roadmap to exploring these cities like a local, without the stress, without the guesswork, and without missing a single thing. Scan the QR code on your screen right now and download yours for free. Because the best trips are not just the ones you dream about, they are the ones you plan well. Day 3, the Vatican, Trastevere, and one final view. Today we cross the river, from popes to painters, hilltops to hidden corners. This is the Rome of faith, art, and feeling. And we're ending it with a view you'll never forget. Day 3 is a finale, grand, intimate, and surprising. We'll explore the smallest country in the world, dive into some of the greatest art ever created, then slip into Rome's backstreets for one last perfect evening. Don't worry, we'll make every minute count. In the morning, Vatican museums and St. Peter's Basilica. Start early, especially if you want to beat the crowds at the Vatican museums. This is where you'll find Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, Raphael's rooms, and miles of corridors filled with ancient treasures. Tip: book a skip-the-line ticket or guided tour in advance. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description for the best guided tours the Vatican has to offer. You'll save yourself an hour of standing. Once you exit the museums, loop around to St. Peter's Square. Even if you're not religious, the scale of St. Peter's Basilica will leave you speechless. It's not just a church. It's a masterpiece carved in marble and light. Climb the dome if you can, 320 steps, or take the elevator partway, and at the top, a view of Vatican City, Rome, and the hills beyond. Pure magic. Lunch, Borgo or Prati. Hungry after all that? Skip the tourist traps just outside the Vatican and head a few blocks into Borgo or Prati. Try pasta asciutta for fast, fresh pasta near the Vatican walls, or Trattoria Vaticano 𝐲𝐥𝐥 for a classic Roman lunch without the fuss. Today's about balance, big sights, slow meals. In the afternoon, Gianicolo Hill and Trastevere. After lunch, climb up to Gianicolo Hill, one of the best-kept secrets in Rome. No ticket, no line, just an open terrace, sweeping views of the city, and the sound of kids playing nearby. If you time it right, you'll hear the daily cannon shot at 12 p.m., a Roman tradition since 1847. Walk downhill into Trastevere, Rome's most charming maze of cobbled lanes, faded shutters, and unexpected beauty. Stop by Santa Maria in Trastevere, one of Rome's oldest churches. Golden mosaics, quiet benches, cool air. Tip: around 4 to 5 p.m. Trastevere is quiet, the perfect moment for a coffee, a gelato, or just wandering aimlessly. The Golden Hour, Ponte Umberto I or Pincio Viewpoint. As the day winds down, it's time for one last view. You have two perfect options. Choose based on your mood. Option 1. Head to Ponte Umberto I, where the dome of St. Peter's reflects in the river as the sky turns gold. It's picture perfect, especially at sunset. Option 2. Make your way back toward Villa Borghese and return to the Pincian Terrace for a panoramic farewell. Either way, the light will do its thing. Rome always knows how to say goodbye. In the evening, final dinner. For your final night, keep it simple, but unforgettable. Book a table at Tonarello in Trastevere for pasta and energy, or Osteria del Belli for something more relaxed. Let the evening stretch. No rush. Just wine, laughter, and a few deep sighs. You've earned them. 3 days. 3 versions of Rome, ancient, beautiful, and deeply human. And still, you've barely scratched the surface. That's the thing about Rome. It gives you just enough to fall in love, but always leaves you wanting more. That was Rome in 3 days, the perfect mix of history, views, food, and feeling. We also want to remind you again to book your tickets in advance. Rome's top attractions sell out fast. The Colosseum, the Vatican museums, the Sistine Chapel, they all book up days in advance. If you want to follow this itinerary without stress, book your tickets now. Scan the QR codes on screen for Get Your Guide or Viator, skip the line, and spend your time exploring, not waiting. Don't leave this to chance. Rome rewards those who come prepared. Want to discover even more of Europe? Check out our other videos for more tips, hidden gems, and unforgettable destinations across this incredible continent. And don't forget to follow our channel for more inspiring city trips, smart travel guides, and complete itineraries designed to help you travel better, smarter, and stress-free. The next adventure is just one click away.